lived in New York the last 15 years of my life before leaving the US. So that already is not everyone's norm of life, right? Just the pace of how it moves, or the late night hours that we're out to, and many other things. But I would say I'm definitely more chill here. The other thing is I moved to Africa when I was 35. So I'm in my mid 40s, my early mid 40s now at this point. So I'm also a different person, and I'm at a different stage of life than I was then in my 20s or my early 30s as an adult. That's part of it. I always say Mauritius taught me how to unplug, because I needed to come down from that fast-paced New York speed, and I didn't appreciate Mauritius in a way I would have if I lived there now. So when I got to Rwanda, I was already in a bit more chilled out, so I'm able to appreciate the walks. But I will say my personality is one where I'm gonna always be doing the most. Hi everyone, I am Autumn Marie. I am the founder and CEO of Kigali Forward. We are a PR, experiential, and capacity building agency for creative and communications. So come take a look inside. We're actually in the process of kind of redesigning the inside of our office. So we are in an in-between moment. So hopefully at some other point, you may visit us, or you'll see us somewhere else, and we'll be at the finished stage of that. So we rent a house here as our office. And one of my favorite things about this office is the view, especially when I'm here working really late at night. Like, look at this. I know nothing beats a high level, high storied office when you're working in a big office building and being able to just see out. But let me tell you this, I feel like I can compete with you. For people who have the corner offices in a really, really tall high rise office building, I can compete with you with this view. But seriously, one of the things, especially when there's a lot going on, sometimes is just to come, sit out here and work and be able to look out at this. It's soothing, it's peaceful. When things get really, really hectic with clients, there's a lot going on, or I just want to feel the sun and I just want to appreciate it and be able to be a part of everything that is around. Especially, sometimes the day is beautiful outside and everyone has a day where I wish I could just be out instead of being in the office. So I love that I can be both. I can be in the office and out. And when I'm here really late at night, I love that when I come out to leave, I'm able to see this with the night view and the lights.
Our lifestyle is good. We both work, so we spend a lot of time either at the school or in our office, and also just running around a lot. It's also a place where it's fairly easy to get to know people, so we spend a lot of time going to different events, going out to dinner with people, moving around a lot. So we probably only eat at home a couple of days a week, but most evenings, number of evenings a week, there's one or both of us is running around to some function or just having dinner out.
I think that now, especially being here a number of years and with my life being really busy with the agency at Kigali Forward, especially this time of year, him having just launched the school, a lot of it often is we're moving, and then when we're at home in the evening, it's really the time that we get to spend with each other because we're gone so much of the day. So that's our time together. And then I think we've both been able to find the things that we enjoy here, be it the gym for him or my other activities that I love. And and then whatever time we have outside of that is where we try to get time alone. And we're really excited about this new house that we're just moving into to rent, because we'll get to sit up here with the view and really enjoy that.
Okay, so welcome to our house. This is a house in the Kimironko side of town, so kind of a suburb, but maybe about 10 minutes from my job, so it's still a pretty good location. And we'll show you around. So the house has 4 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. It's built kind of brownstone style, so it's very narrow and tall. So we've got a kitchen, dining area here, just past the living room. And really appreciate this because we have a lot of guests, particularly folks coming from the States, family come stay with us. So the basement is a 1-bedroom apartment. So you got a second small kitchenette area here, washing machine, fridge, and then it's self-contained, got a small bedroom and bathroom downstairs.
This table out here is like just for us to sit when we're sitting outside and working. Sometimes we have our team check-ins there. Sometimes it's just, you'll see one person sitting there or you'll see several of us. Our team right now is about 7 people all together that work in various capacities. We're a hybrid office, but you'll see us there sometimes. These photos are from clients, an exhibit that we did. This was from a climate exhibit we did. A photographer here named Dufree won that climate exhibit, and it was part of Africa Soft Power in, I think, 2 years ago, the last time they were here. So that's what those are from. They're amazing, and they're all around climate change. You'll see other stuff that's here as well from past client events and things. So yeah, this is, so part of what we're doing is we're just different seating areas so that people aren't always sitting in just traditional desks. Part of what we're doing is really just trying to make ourselves look more like a creative office and just bringing in creative ways people can sit and work. So we have these built so people can sit out in the open space. And the great thing is if you come to this side and come stand next to me and you look out, then when you're sitting here, you get to look at the view while you're working. So there's a whole plan of like, all of those are gonna be gone by the end of this year, and a whole plan of how like we're building seating against the wall and things just to have some creative space. And to also give people some space to work together. That is more of a storage room, so we won't go in there. This is our kitchen area, just for staff to come in and, be able to eat, have snacks, all of that, coffee and tea, or for guests visit. This is our conference room. This is our conference/meeting room where we sit in and we all huddle together, or sometimes end of the day when we're doing sprints together. And one of the things that we've done is that we are founding agency of Rwanda Community Network, which has been going now since I think 2021. Came about kind of naturally from one year we hosted with Africa Communications. We hosted a local gathering, a dinner with comms people from private and public sector. And what came out of that dinner was maybe about 15, 20 people, but people saying, we've been waiting for this. We've been really, really wanting to get together with other communications professionals. And then one of my young staff at the time said, young people also need this. And so it's something that, has now gotten a few, I think our database is pretty strong now, and then our WhatsApp group has been growing and growing, and usually at least once a year or more, then we do get-togethers and networking opportunities to be able to pull the communication professionals here together, from young professionals to very established senior level professionals. So this is one of the quotes and something that really drives the work that we do. A quote that everybody has heard, right? Until the lion tells their side of the story, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. A big part of the work that we do and the ethos of Kigali Forward, and which drives me every day at this point of my PR career, is about the fact that it's up to us to change a narrative. And we could talk a little bit more about it, but as a communications professional in Africa, we are really, our work that we do is really what is contributing to not just changing the narrative, but expanding the narrative.
Broadly, we spend a little bit less than 2,000 US dollars a month, all in, between rent, utilities, internet, gas, and groceries. So it's really economical here. When we go out to eat, we probably spend between $30 and $40 for both of us for a full meal. Usually have appetizers. She might have a glass of wine or so, so it's really affordable to go out. Like I said, we get invited to a lot of functions as well, and Functions are pretty affordable here. If you get invited to there's a MMA event a couple weeks ago I took my nephew to. Then there was a big boxing event, launch of Kigali boxing nights. So there's always something new, something different going on, and they're all accessible. So there's nothing that would happen in this town that we would feel like, oh, I wish we could go to that, as if we didn't have access. We have access to anything that goes on in the city. So that's a really great thing about living here.
Yeah. And I would say the biggest shift that I see, and like why I showed the groceries earlier, is because it's the groceries. And as like primarily I'm the person who's doing the grocery shopping, and that's the biggest shift, because when I go home, then I'm often spending what I just spent for like the whole week. And that's probably going to get me through more than a week. And that was my juicing and my cooking without needing any staples. I'm spending what I would spend in one day. When I go to Chicago, I'll spend just trying to run to the store and get things to eat for like maybe dinner at my parents' house, to cook something quick and maybe have something for lunch. I'm spending more than that. So what I bought earlier, if we showed that, it was $21 or $20. I can barely buy one meal at the grocery store in the States. And I'm not even like eating meat and milk and the other things that can be more expensive. So just the price is the biggest thing in groceries that I see.
A lot of places offer places for rent that are semi-furnished or fully furnished. So this place is fully furnished, might be a little over-furnished, so we're doing a little bit of redecorating. But this is a guest bedroom here. Again, self-contained with its own bathroom. And then this would be the master bedroom on this side, even though it's actually smaller than the guest bedroom, but it's built that way because of the space the bathroom takes up. Kind of a walk-in closet area. Rwanda is known as the land of 1,000 hills, so pretty much everybody has a view. So this is one of the views. There's multiple patios in this house. We have a better view upstairs, though. Let's check it out.
Gaidi left to go live back in the U.S. in 2021. Okay, he didn't leave to go back live in the U.S. He left to go back and teach at a job in 2021 in the U.S. at a university there. And I stayed here. I was not ready to leave Rwanda. And then that was about 1.5 years. And then he relocated to Switzerland. Everyone would often say, how come you're not there? And it had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't want to live with my favorite human being. That wasn't it. It was about the fact that I wanted to live in Rwanda. And when people, it's what kept me here. I felt like there was work I still wanted to do here, but I just felt like we had more time and I had more time here. So I wanted to say maybe 3-4 things around like what that is in Rwanda for me. So one, it is the infectious ambition of this country and its people. The second thing is that there's things that can and do happen here in Rwanda that don't and won't happen to the same levels or the same consistency other places. I think there's a whole wave going across this continent right now, right? And that's all shifting. But especially when we first got here, from transparency and low levels of corruption to, again, just the ambition of, you look at the things that have been built in a small amount of time that we've been here. So that's the second thing. The third thing would be, for sure, the collective ownership and responsibility of community. Like, this country was really built by the people. And so when I talk to, my friends and I listen to the stories of their parents supporting it from afar in the diaspora to moving back and their family moving back, and really seeing and participating in things like umuganda and the meetings that happen afterwards, and really seeing, right, community take up collections when someone's in need. The collective responsibility to it also gives collective ownership in a way that for those of us who do come from community and from these, communal spaces in the US and organizing spaces, these are the communities that we're talking about building, right? Where we talk about, do you feel like you belong to the point that you have a sense of collective ownership and you care about the destiny of it? And this is a country where people care about the destiny of this country and have that stakeholdership in it. And you see it evident. So there's so many of our, I think, political beliefs that we see alive, and just more like political in a sense of community alive here, down to how government goes down to this very, very small level, right, of the Mudugadu, and how the role that they play in the settling disputes in community, or having this community, liaison, the way that the many transformative justice models that exist in this country, the way that they're really reaching back into homegrown solutions, and that's the core and the foundation of what's being built. The idea of umuganda, the idea of our car-free Sundays, all of these things are so much at the roots of who we are and our belief system, and that's what keeps me here.
Hey Web Nation family, for years we've been sharing stories of diasporans who have relocated from the diaspora and currently living here on the continent of Africa. You guys have been enjoying the episode, saying in the comment section that you want this to be you one day. Why don't we just bring that time to now? We are inviting you to come on a trip with us to South Africa, November 2026. This is going to be an 11-day experience of we visiting cities like Cape Town, Johannesburg. We having experiences like going to the wine lands and actually experiencing South Africa, the people, the food. This is not just a vacation. This is a very well detailed experience that gives you the proper insight on people interested in relocating. The beautiful part about this is we've made it easy for you to come on this trip with us. By you just making a deposit, you get to pay the rest in installment and get yourself on a trip with us to South Africa. Scan the QR code, secure your spot, and see you in South Africa. Now guys, let's get back into the video.
So got a small little bar area. But we have an upstairs living room that actually has a accordion wall, so you can fully open it up as feels like a balcony, feels like an open space, but we can also close the glass wall if we need to. And I can actually see my school where I work down there on the side of the hill. So this floor has another guest bathroom, and then we've got another self-contained guest bedroom. So again, 4 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms in the house. Then we'll take you upstairs. We got one more patio. Second washing machine and washing area, because folks would usually dry their clothes outside. So yeah, so we got a, hangout area, dining area for friends when they come over. We got a balcony facing the other direction so we can catch the sunset. So we're lucky to have views on both sides of the house. And again, hang your clothes out here, dry, always warm weather. And that's pretty much it.
I run towards, I run towards things, right? I don't run from anything. I run towards, I run with, but I don't run from anything. I wasn't, because again, that was not our path. Our path was not, let's leave the US. That was not Gaidi's path the first time he left the US. The first time he left was by invite of someone saying, hey, brother, why don't you come over and check this out? Us coming, that was by just people saying, hey, what about this job? And him saying, hey, what do you feel about moving here, right? And so even how I said that I was very anti at one point of leaving the US, not because I couldn't detach myself and my tentacles from it, but just within what I felt like our duty was there. But no, I wasn't running from anything. And for those people who are running consciously or subconsciously or avoiding or escaping, you cannot escape, right? That goes back to my thing about the tentacles. You can find reprieve, you can find relief, you can find breaths of air, you can find space, but you cannot escape. For instance, you cannot escape white supremacy, you cannot escape racism. Because anywhere you go, as soon as you have white people, the white supremacist like mindsets that pop up there, you're going to still be dealing with the same thing. I had a whole microaggression thing this morning when I landed at the airport here with, you know, a white person that felt the need to make a comment about something that was very microaggressive, right? Or even just aggressive. So you cannot outrun that. So no matter where you go around this globe, this universe, when you get there, what will be waiting for you is yourself. You can't run from anything. And we definitely weren't. We weren't running. We were just flowing with. I am a business owner. I own my own agency. That's not something I ever did before in life, before moving here. So back to shout out to the country and ambition, and also being in a space where you can see the need for things and building them. That took a lot of courage. In the US, I was working in-house at places, agencies or otherwise, mostly agencies. And then I also, you know, did a lot of freelancing when I wasn't at agencies and independent contracting. And the years I was freelancing, independent contracting, I think there was always something within me that was a bit scared to take that leap and like file an actual company name or do that kind of thing. I think just everything about it, I can't even put my finger on it, but felt like this. But being here pushed me to do that. And I don't know if it was the ease of like what it takes to file a business here. And, you know, everyone talks about we are the second easiest place to start a business in Africa. And you can do it online from anywhere. And it's done, you know, in a day or less. And so maybe it was that, but I would not have also envisioned that and in having a staff. So I filed the company in 2019. Meaning just went to RDB or went online with RDB and filed it. And then we really got off the ground in 2020. And it's been a steady, slow building. And now we're very busy. And we're also in like, now I think coming out of startups phase and coming into really cementing who we are. And we're at a very like growth phase into the next phase. But started in 2020 with one intern from University of Rwanda who was in communications, School of Communications. And we, during COVID, people wanted to do things like online, but needed help or comms. And so got one thing here, one thing there, one thing there. And that's kind of how business was in the beginning. And then that kind of kept growing, 2021, 2022. And then I would say from 2023 to 2025 is where things have been a lot more consistent, and especially these last 2 years, and where things are also now we're getting the kind of clients that we're really excited about. For a while, it was a lot of conferences, large level conferences that were coming in, but now we're really getting like the longer term things and where we can really have more impact in it. So it's been not easy. It's been really difficult. I will not lie to anyone. I think a lot of people who move and think that, yay, I'm gonna start a business. I think a lot of people, they think it's gonna be really easy. And I don't know if they think it's gonna be easy because they think their idea is that great, if they think it's because they have a solution, or if they are just doubting what it takes to do a business, or perhaps they did something else that was really successful, or they're just not giving enough like credit to like what the society is and what it takes to be successful in it. So I see a lot of people who do that, and maybe within the first year when things aren't working out, either pack up and leave, or then they're mad at the country, right? And they're like, yeah, this isn't working, or people don't get my idea, versus they have not figured out what is actually needed or how that thing is needed or how it needs to be communicated. So I hear that a lot from people who are moving here, and it is not for the faint of heart at all, at all. But if you really build it, you really listen, you really do it conscientiously, it can grow and it can be an amazing thing. And that's been where our journey is now. Specifically, like having lived in New York for so long and having lived there from my 20s to my mid 30s, like you can be on that constant like hamster wheel grind, you know, especially if you're not working a traditional full-time job. And at times, especially where I was like freelancing or independent contracting, or even if you are working a full-time job where it just never seems like it's enough, to where, you know, you're paying your bills and you're able to save and feel like you can also treat yourself out to eat a few times. So I think just that cost of living, and it can be so stressful, and it can really weigh on you, and it weighs on you. And then what you're getting back in return for your quality of life, oh my gosh. When I talk to other people who used to live in New York or who are from there, and we like live other places now, and we're like, why were we doing that? Why were we doing that to ourselves? It's almost sadistic. So what feels more freeing is that part. It's the space to breathe. What's more difficult, like even in having an agency, is that we can't charge the same amount for services. And even though sometimes the scope of work might be larger than what we're expected to do if the same agency was in the US or dealing with clients based there, just because we're in a different market. And being in a different market means, oops, you have to charge, you know, you're charging for market rate. So that's the part where, you know, that can be more difficult. But again, your expenses are so much different, and you have the space to be able to like just breathe and be okay and be well, not just okay. I think, you know, one of the things is about being in other places is you realize that there's so many things you can do. So for instance, if you're in the US and you've done like this one thing most of your life, all of your life, or many years, you might think that that's the only thing you can do, or you might, you know, just almost feel boxed in with it. And that could be a good or a bad thing, because someone might enjoy the comfort of that. And you might, you know, some people are now completely breaking that mold and doing things at all kinds of stages of life that are new to them, which is amazing and beautiful. But, you know, it might be that moment of like, I can't do that. I never did that. And then being here and in many other places, you realize how many skills are transferable, even outside of that one thing that you do, and that it's transferable to all these other areas. So for instance, with Kigali Forward, we started as a PR communications agency strictly, and then got into tourism, because if we're going to expand and amplify the narrative of Rwanda and thereby Africa through our work, we saw that in order to do that for Rwanda, people really needed to come see and experience it. And also that there was a gap in that being done and targeted towards Black and African people. So intra-Africa and the diaspora at large. And so I never would have thought that I'd be in tourism, but that's how we landed in tourism. And now I've been able to bring Nomadness Travel Tribe and bring intra-Africa groups here. So that would be my thing for me. Yeah, I feel very welcomed here. I will say you have to put in extra effort, and that amount of effort, though, that might vary based, you know, for some people, no matter where they go on earth, they have to put in a lot of effort, depending on your personality. I am somewhere on the extrovert spectrum, right? That definitely still needs my introvert time at home, though most people would not believe that about me. But I say that to say I'm somebody who, like, you put me anywhere, you put me somewhere on vacation for a week, I'm going to tell you, oh, that's the person who took yoga with me. Oh, that's the person who owns the cafe, or that's the brother who, you know. So anywhere you put me, I'm going to build community. That is the oxygen that runs through my blood, is community. There is no me without community, period. So it's the only way I know how to function. The only way I know how to live is with community. But even for someone like me, I'll say it takes a lot more. It can take a lot more effort. And what I would say to people is, don't get up. Don't give up. Don't take it personally. You know, I think sometimes it's easy for people to take it personally, but don't. Have an open mind and realize the truth of the matter is you are someone who is not from here. You are someone who may be very different, and be conscious of how you're then stepping in that space, right? How are you then also when you're approaching people, right? How it doesn't mean about toning yourself down. It does not mean about respectability politics. But this is a society where people are very quiet and much more reserved than a lot of other societies. And it is a beautiful thing about our nuance as African people, because I think it's, you know, a lot of times people think of one kind of person who's like, hey, how are you? Or Jumbo, right? That's like, hey, and that is not the only way, right? We are many ways across this continent and its diaspora. And so it can take a bit more and for people to warm up, you know, to you. And so, you know, I would say Madamute, like good morning when I walk on my street. Sometimes people would just look, sometimes people say Madamute back, and then it, you know, it catches on over time, right? And, but in general, if you say Madamute, somebody's gonna, you know, you're speaking to someone, they're gonna say it back. And so just because people are not the same as like walking down the street, like down south in the States where everyone's like, hey, how you doing? It's the same thing that people are not speaking to you if you walk through the streets of Chicago or New York, right? It's not the same personality, not the same reason, but it just means there's different kinds of people. But if you speak and, you know, people will speak back, and being who I am, like if you really want to know some of my first friends, like I was at a cafe and I saw a sister in who had a yoga mat, and I think she had gotten like macadamia nut milk, and I was like, hi, my name is Autumn. I also love yoga and nut milk. Like, I feel like we could be friends. And bless Ayanda, who we're still good sister friends now. She doesn't even live here anymore. She's South African. You know, another one of my really, really good friends, shout out to Benna, we were in Pilates class together at the gym, and she's Rwandan. We were in Pilates class, and I just said, hey, my name's Autumn, like, you know, and so I do that a lot sometimes, you know, the places that I go, because we already have that common thing. And so, but you have to take the initiative, right? You can't just always be around and think that everyone's going to come to you, because that's just not how life works. That's not Rwanda. That's not how life works. So you have to facilitate the community that you want and be okay taking that first step. So that's a lot of what it has been for me, is me actually speaking up to people, me seeking out the things, or, you know, if I see someone who does something, sometimes I see someone around and we've never met, but I see them a lot. And people do it to me now at this point too, because I've been here for so long. Like, my hair has changed. And so I had a mohawk for a while. So now when people see me, even if we don't know each other, they'll say, hey, I don't know you, but I remember when you had a mohawk, and it'll start a conversation, right? So that same kind of thing. And I just, you know, and then it keeps rolling. And if people don't follow up at first, it's okay. There's people at home that don't follow up. Don't take it personally. You just keep trying, you keep going, and you'll build your community. It might look different than how it was at home. It might not be as big as it was at home. It might be a mixture of people who are not from here and people who are from here. Or you might find a small enclave at first that is people who are not from here and other people from the States, because that might be your safe thing. But, you know, at some point you want to keep building and growing and getting out of that safe space. Come with no expectations. I would say a few things. So maybe the top three would be like, come with no expectations, because if you come with expectations, then you're already setting yourself up to be let down. And that's almost with anywhere. Like, I learned that a long time ago, even with just traveling. Let the experience lead you. And second thing that tags on with that is to be open-minded. So be open-minded and be open to what may come. Don't come with like your preconceived notions that everybody's gonna be like, ah, welcome home, sister, my brother, right? This idea that some people have. No, it's not. And yes, some people might call you Mzungu, and some people, because you are a foreigner, you know, and some of that may hurt, and some of it might be really hard to digest. And you might cry. There's gonna be days you might cry. And that's okay, you know, that's okay. You know, restart. So come, have the grit, that would be my third one, right? Have the grit and like be willing to keep trying again and again. Don't judge, like don't be judgmental of like these people, and don't think you have the answers and the solutions. This country has been doing just fine without you, and will be just fine without you afterwards if you choose to leave. So like really step back and humble yourself. It's like coming into any room when they say read the room or just see what's happening first. Treat your experience like that. Read the room of Rwanda first.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. The thing is, everything's going to be different, or a lot of things will be different. But the reality is, once you get accustomed to them, you'll realize that it's a difference that is in your favor, right? This place has a lot of frustrations. It's got traffic, it's got bureaucracy, it's got et cetera, but you have those same problems in the US.
Yeah.
The difference is, when I get stuck in traffic here, I usually am inconvenienced for 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes it'll be a lot longer than that, but usually it's a pretty short thing. But I'm just, I've been in Kigali long enough, I remember where there wasn't traffic, right? But, if you live in California, you're going to get stuck in traffic for an hour, 2 hours, et cetera. So all of the inconveniences here are, to a degree, less than they were to the same type of lifestyle in the United States.
Yeah.
And again, you have access to everything. People are welcoming. Like she said, sometimes people kind of, treat you as a foreigner, but you are a foreigner. And you need to recognize the privilege that comes with that and lean into that. And then, people will embrace you and you can have a very good life out here.